Today we're going to replace the absorbent wiper and the squeegee blade. These are all part of the entire squeegee assembly. Over time, you'll see that they will begin to wear. The absorbent wiper will begin to swell, and the cutting edge of the squeegee blade will become dull. And this will affect your cleaning performance. The squeegee assembly has a life expectancy of 14,600 lanes. And we rotate that at every 7,300 lanes. The absorbent wiper has a life expectancy of 5,000 lanes, and that will require more attention. To remove the squeegee assembly, we first must remove the two mounting bolts on both sides of the assembly. We will do this using a 3/16 L-shaped Allen wrench and a 1/2 inch box wrench. We leave the screw in so that the assembly does not fall out, and then we repeat this to the opposite side. Once the nuts are removed, we can now remove the screws. Lift slightly on the assembly and pivot to remove. Now that we have the squeegee assembly out, we can go to our workbench and replace the squeegee and absorbent wiper. Before we continue with replacing the absorbent wiper and the squeegee blade, first let's remove the vacuum hose. For that, we will use a 5/16 inch nut driver, loosen the clamp for the hose, and remove the hose so we can wash this out. The hot water will break up any dirt and dust inside the hose that can cause dripping or vacuum problems. Then you can straighten the hose, look into it to see if you removed all the debris, and if you have, it's ready to go back into the machine. Then we'll grab our two cut 2x4s, place them on the bench, rotate our squeegee assembly upside down so we can remove the inner channel. Now I'll grab my 5/32 Allen attachment for my ratchet and begin to remove the screws that hold the inner channel. With all the screws removed, we can now extract the inner channel. Flat screwdriver, we come up underneath the channel and remove it. And we do the same thing to both sides. Once the inner channels are removed, we want to take a towel and clean them up. We will then remove the absorbent wiper and the old squeegee and discard them. We will take the towel and we'll wipe the outer channel, remove any moisture, any dirt that accumulates over time. So we take our squeegee blade and insert it so that it's centered in our channel. Then we take our absorbent wiper and do the same. Then we install our right side inner channel, making sure that the holes align. We begin on the end and insert our first screw. Once the screw is started and pulls down the inner channel a little bit, we will insert our second screw. The most important thing about installing this assembly is to make sure that you do not trap the squeegee or the absorbent wiper underneath the channel. Then it'll make it more difficult to tighten it down. So it's okay to use a screwdriver to position the backing so that it does not get pinched underneath the assembly. The last screw is the most difficult because it is the shortest of the 4 screws. We want to tighten this one just before it becomes completely tight. Now we're ready for the left side of the assembly. We position our inner channel, and like we did to the right side, we will begin on the very outside of the assembly. And again, when we get to the final screw, we position it and get it started. Now we have all the screws in, the channel's not fully seated. We want to make sure the squeegee and the absorbent wiper are making contact with the outer channel. Now we will finish tightening all the screws. You want them tight, but you do not want to over torque them. They are stainless steel screws and they can strip easy. We will work from the center to the outside on both sides of the assembly. After all the screws are tightened, we'll just put a little pressure on the absorbent wiper to make sure that it is seated evenly in the channel. Now we are ready to reattach the hose. And we'll take our 5/16 nut driver, tighten our clamp around the hose until it's nice and tight. And now we're ready to take our assembly back to the machine. Now that we've replaced the absorbent wiper and the squeegee, we can reinstall the assembly back into the machine. To install, we put the assembly back in the same way that we pulled it out. Once the squeegee is in position, we can insert the screw on one side and then on the other side. Then we can add the nut and then tighten the nuts up. Now that the machine is down, we can exit out of the operator menu, navigate to maintenance, counters, reset the squeegee number of lanes, and reset the absorbent wiper number of lanes.